vertical ventilation operations on peaked roof structures are some of the most dangerous tasks performed by firefighters daily. This video will provide you with important information to help you perform these operations safely and more effectively.
Peaked roof operations combine many dangers, some of which include gaining access to the roof area by either portable ladder or aerial device, moving onto a sloped roof surface, operating power tools or swinging hand tools, and the fact that all operations are being conducted above the main body of fire. Combined with the possibility of failure of the roof decking or roof assembly, the need for an understanding of the associated hazards and the proper training to deal with them becomes evident. Roof assemblies are comprised of three basic parts: rafters, decking, and deck covering. Rafters are usually of dimensional lumber and are used to span the distance from outer wall to ridge pole or another wall. Common dimensions of rafters run from 2x4s to 2x10s. They usually are found 16 inches on center. Newer homes may use lightweight truss assemblies, in which the largest piece of wood used is only a 2x4. Common spacing for these trusses is 24 inches on center, but some may be spaced even wider. Roof decks for buildings with peaked roofs may be tongue and grooved boards, plywood, or particle board. Older homes may use wood shingles on thin lath as roof decking, which presents a very dangerous hazard for our ventilation operation. Covering for the decking includes roofing paper covered by shingles, tile, or slate, and even metal sheets may be found on older homes. There are 5 most common types of peaked roof structures. The gable roof is the most common. It's comprised of 2 sides that slope up from 2 bearing walls and meet at a ridge pole or ridge area. Hip roofs have 4 independent sides that slope up from 4 bearing walls and meet at 1 ridge. Gambrel and mansard roofs each have 2 slopes per side, with the lower slope being steeper than the upper one. The difference between the two is that the mansard roof rises from 4 sides, while the gambrel rises from 2. The 5th type commonly found is a shed roof. Shed roofs slope up from 1 bearing wall to another wall of greater height. These are frequently found on modern homes and on outbuildings such as garages and tool sheds. Roofs are constructed with different pitches. This greatly affects our tactical plan. Pitch is identified by rate of run versus rate of rise. A 4-on-12 roof rises 4 inches for every 12 inches of horizontal run. 4-on-12 is a low-pitched roof and is easy to operate on while standing upright. On steeper roofs, a roof ladder or aerial device usually will be required to safely perform ventilation. A greater pitch also affects our tool selection.
Your tool selection is based on roof type, roof pitch, and firefighter experience and ability. The tools you may want to bring to the roof include an axe, a Halligan type tool, a 6-foot pike pole or hook, and if the building has a walkable roof, a power saw. Of course, this is in addition to full protective clothing, personal flashlight, and self-contained breathing apparatus. Optional equipment includes a utility rope, a life-saving rope, and pike poles of larger lengths.
Power saws are best carried with a shoulder strap. This leaves both hands for climbing, or 1 hand for climbing, and 1 for an additional tool. In a 2-person crew, 1 firefighter takes the saw and 6-foot hook. The second firefighter carries a Halligan and axe mated together to keep 1 hand free for climbing.
Your roof size-up process begins on arrival. Where is the fire? How can we access the roof? What obstructions factor into roof access? What tools should we use for effectiveness and safety? What construction features affect roof movement and ventilation location? The answers to these and other questions are essential to successful vertical ventilation at peaked roof structures.
Once you receive the order to ventilate the roof, you must secure a safe means of accessing the roof. This will be by aerial device or portable ladder. The most common method of roof access is the portable ladder. Position the ladders for the safest means of egress. Always plan for a second means of escape. Avoid windows or eave areas from which the fire might vent. Carefully check for the presence of overhead wires or other obstructions. Ensure that ladders are properly raised to the correct climbing angle and are properly footed or secured until all personnel are off them. Depending on construction features and obstructions, the ladder may be raised to the ridge line at either end of the building or to the eave area, wherever access is available. When the portable ladder is raised only as high as the eave area and the roof pitch is steep, a roof ladder will be required. The roof ladder is raised alongside the ground ladder. The hooks are engaged, facing outward, and the ladder is pushed up the slope to the ridge line. The roof ladder is then turned so that the hooks engage the ridge.
Beware that on lightweight wood truss construction, roof ladders are not a safe platform to work from. Roof ladders are designed to span the roof surface from ridge pole to outside wall. The theory being, if the decking collapses, the ladder still will be supported by the ridge pole and the outside wall. But in truss construction, there is no ridge pole for the ladder hooks to engage. The ladder is supported only by the roof decking and therefore will collapse with the roof decking.
If the only safe access to the roof is from the ridge area by portable ladder, members must be able to move safely across the ridge surface to the area where they will operate. On low-pitched roofs, 4 on 12 and under, walking upright is the easiest and safest way to move. On steeper roofs, it is best to straddle the ridge area in a sitting manner and inch your way across the roof. By staying low, the firefighter is less likely to lose his balance. If any obstructions, such as a chimney, are encountered, the obstacle should be passed using handholds on the roof. If the chimney is too large to span with your arms, avoid grabbing the chimney high up. In many cases, the mortar has deteriorated and the chimney will not support the weight of a firefighter. Grab the chimney as close as possible to the roof surface. When using an aerial ladder for access, the ladder should be sent to the ridge area if possible. If obstructions prevent this, the aerial can be used to reach any valleys or intermediate areas from which access to the venting location can be made. Whenever possible, position the aerial directly at the point just below where the ventilation will be performed. Tower ladders should be used to their fullest advantage. Again, depending on obstructions, use this device as a working platform from which to cut the hole. Selecting the position for the actual ventilation hole can be accomplished using the following indicators: melting tar, smoke pushing through shingles, rising steam if the roof surface is wet, or by observing fire or smoke venting from windows or other building features. Operate with the wind at your back if possible.
The entire evolution should be conducted with safety as the #1 priority. Have a planned escape route in mind. Be careful when operating near the edge of the roof surface. Avoid opening a vent hole between yourself and your escape route. At all times, monitor the conditions of the roof deck for weakness and check the progress of the engine companies to make sure they are making headway in their interior fire attack. Radio communication is essential.
Once the location for the hole is selected, use the blade of the axe to remove shingles in the area of the cut. Tiles or slate will have to be broken to be removed. Remember that personnel on the ground could be injured by sharp falling tile or slate. Again, communications. Removing the roof covering will expose the roof deck and allow you to determine if the decking is plywood, boards, or particle board. The decking may be cut or broken. When cutting with the blade end of the tool, cut as close to the rafters as possible. If breaking through the roof boards, a technique commonly used for older construction with tongue and groove decking, use the back of the tool and strike between the rafters and remove the broken pieces. If operating on a low-pitched roof from the standing position, work from a comfortable position. Most firefighters prefer, and it's safer simply from the standpoint of balance, to stand on a lower area and chop above. When operating from either a roof ladder or straddling the ridge area, the cutting will be restricted by the reach of the firefighter and by fire conditions. The hole should cover as many bays as possible. Take care to maintain your balance when swinging your axe. Maintain a low center of gravity, especially on roof ladders. Keep your weight as close as possible to the roof surface. Whether chopping or breaking, a hole will start to develop as you strike the decking. Work from this original opening and expand the hole to cover adjoining bays. Then extend the hole down the roof surface. If the roof is walkable, a power saw may be used. Make sure the roof surface is clear of debris in the area of the cut. Have a rough outline of the hole in your mind before cutting. The most common cut is the standard cut. First, make a horizontal cut as close to the ridge line as possible and spanning as many bays as practical. A horizontal 4-foot cut will cover a minimum of 3 bays on a 16-inch on-center rafter system. Care should be taken not to cut through the rafters. Our intention is only to remove the decking. The knockout, a small triangular cut made at a corner, should also be performed now. This knockout will be used as a purchase point for the pike pole or Halligan tool when removing the decking. Next, cut perpendicular to the first, down the surface at least 3 feet. The next cut is made parallel to the second at the other end of the first cut. The last cut mirrors the first and completes the box. The hole should not be pulled until the cuts are completed. At all times, avoid stepping inside the box. Another type of cut is known as the hinged, louvered, or quick cut. This is most effective when the roof decking is plywood, but may also be used for other deck surfaces. The first cut, again, is horizontal, as close to the ridge pole as possible. The second cut is parallel to the first, approximately 3 or 4 feet down on the roof surface. The third and fourth are vertical cuts made midway between the rafters. When the 4 cuts are finished and you are prepared to open the hole, bang down one side of the plywood box so that it rotates on its rafter axis, tilted in the fashion of louvers. The hinged cut is particularly effective for plywood decking because the nails used to install the material and the size of the plywood sheets make it difficult to pull cut roof sections. Should you require 2 horizontal cuts and 4 vertical cuts between the rafters, create 3 louvered sections, more than sufficient for this operation. Using a power saw from either a roof ladder or aerial device is a more difficult operation. The sequence of cuts changes and is limited by the operator's reach. The first cut is still along the ridge line. The second cut is at an angle from the first cut at its farthest point back toward the ladder. The third joins the first 2 into a triangle. Here too, a knockout can be included, but unlike the knockout for the standard cut, it is nearly impossible and in fact dangerous to attempt a knockout cut at the far corner of the triangle. With any roof cutting operation, avoid overextension. In peaked roof venting operations, the hole should be as high up on the roof surface as possible and should cover as many bays as possible. But realistically, in private dwelling fires, ensuring that a hole is opened is more important than the overall size of the opening. Even a smaller opening directly over the fire soon will be enlarged by the fire itself. Once the cuts are completed, the halligan or hook should be used to open the hole. Pull the decking up and out of the hole if possible. Be aware that smoke and fire may vent forcibly from the hole. Open the hole defensively. If possible, the butt end of the hook should be used to push down a ceiling below the hole, which usually will exist if the upper floor or attic is used as living quarters. This is important, lest a ceiling renders your vent hole ineffective. Once the hole is opened, if the engine company has not darkened down the fire, the vent crew should leave the roof.
Here are the key points you must know before attempting peak roof ventilation. Wear all protective clothing and SCBA. Always plan a second means of escape. Use a backup firefighter when using a power saw. Constantly monitor fire conditions and their effect on the roof decking and supports. Beware of sagging or spongy roofs. Maintain good balance when swinging hand tools and operating power tools. Note that when wearing SCBA, your personal center of gravity is higher than normal. Once vertical ventilation is complete, leave the roof. Operations of this nature should not be undertaken by inexperienced or untrained firefighters. Remember, training is the key to your safety and to your department's success.